Spirit Talk. We're going to add Tommy on here. Hopefully it works. Oh. Good morning, everybody. We're waiting for Tommy to click on. Spirit Talk, take one. And everybody's like, what's Spirit Talk and why is Tawnya looking like she just woke up at 11 o'clock? That's Spirit Talk. Oh, here we go.
Hey.
All right.
All right. Here we are. I hope there's not an echo.
No. Why is this doing that? I don't know why it's going to
I love how you said like you just woke up, because I did just a little bit ago.
Well, I slept me. So I'm like,
I love that you're crocheting.
So it's 9. It's 9 for you.
For everybody, just so you know, when we have our talks, it's usually just like this. She's crocheting. I'm just waking up.
Talk. Waking up, gonna be here, doing a little crafty. So nobody's clicked on, but my guess is they're gonna be replays. So why don't you tell people? We'll repeat this like 100 times. Look, you've got your coffee. I've got my smoothie because I had coffee this morning. It's smoothie hour for me. Let's tell them what Spirit Talk's all about.
Well, how this all came about. Well, I'm just gonna say, so we have so many conversations and really interesting things pop up randomly all the time. And both things that I feel, Tawnya feels, and what comes through. And we just got this idea one day. It came in when we were talking of say, why don't we just go live and actually talk like this?
Why aren't we filming? These are
really good conversations. Why are we not filming this?
Yeah, why aren't people should be listening to this. So that's how. Hey, Amanda joined. Hey, Amanda. What's up, Amanda? We were just talking about like why we decided to do this, because we talk a lot and a lot of interesting stuff comes up.
Sure.
So, and this isn't a group page, so a lot of people don't get notified. A lot of people, this is during the day, so that's where we thought, watch it on a replay, watch it whenever. We'll just see what comes up for the day. Did you have any interesting dreams last night?
I did not, actually. I did not have any dreams. I'm still feeling that feeling. Feeling the world. Yeah. I'm like feeling the world today.
And it's funny because we talk about dreams a lot, and a lot of people actually message me. I actually had a client who messaged me and said, hey, I had a dream about, so-and-so, a client. And I get dreams a lot. People always ask me to interpret their dreams.
Can I say the one thing with interpreting? Because it's true. I do the same thing. I'll be like, Tawnya, I dreamt about this. What does this mean? And what's the number one thing you always say?
Oh, I liked it. Okay, number one thing. So if you're ever dreaming, I don't know if you're going to go off this or if you want me to say something else, but this is what popped in my head. If you're dreaming about a house, a car, a bus, a train, or a plane, hey, Robin.
Hey, lady.
If you're ever in those, that represents your life.
Yeah.
So if you're ever dreaming about car, train, plane, your house, that represents your life.
Yes. Well, yes, that too. And how do you feel, right? Like when you feel into, like, what is the main feeling that's coming up?
Yep.
And it'll help you decipher. What I found of learning my dreams up to this point is it's not logical. It's like you think, oh, I dreamed about exactly this person. But usually if you feel into it, I'm going to give you an example because they just showed me this dream. So when I was not starting out, but fairly, I guess the dream. So I don't remember a lot of my dreams, but I was starting to remember these dreams. And I had this dream. I was in a building. in a work setting, and a girl came in of who I worked with in, I think 1999 or 2000. It was a really long time ago, but she gave me this message, and it fit so much of the situation. I can't remember exactly what she said to me, but it was something like, believe what you're doing. You're affecting more people than you know. It was something to that effect. And then
ago was
when
that?
was this? This was like 6
Yeah.
months ago, probably, when I really started to
Get
be
it?
like, okay, I'll actually stop being so secretive and hiding myself of like what I'm doing, right? Like with the healing and the just really owning the intuitive piece and all of that more publicly. And it was really interesting because the girl who delivered it to me, I would never have expected her to come into my dream, but it's almost like they had to use somebody who I did respect and who did know me in that way, who was basically saying, you already, like, we already knew you were kind of like this anyway, right? And it was anyway, it was so fascinating. So I had to really feel into it. And even the feelings that were coming up for me when I was like in a filing cabinet or something, right? And she's telling me this message. So that's just an example.
I love that.
Yeah.
And spirit talking to me, and they said, look for signs and symbols, like similar to that. Like she represented something. So when you're always evaluating your dream, because you're exactly right, people get hung up, and some people are like, well, I don't remember my dreams, but you are very specific, because it's like, when I remember a dream, it's important. I dream a lot. So then people's like, oh, I don't dream a lot. I'm like, well, if you dream something, it's usually significant enough. Evaluate the dream. Don't get hung up. Hey, Lisa, what's up? Don't get like hung up on like that, like, oh, it's this person or whatever. It's the symbolism and the meaning.
Yeah.
I love
and that was it, because I easily could have done that. Oh, it made sense. We worked together. Or maybe just my brain, but it was the way the message was delivered. And and then there were people like coming in and out of the building, and people going like this. And to me, it was like the right people will come in, and this is not for everybody. It was just so much when I really felt into it and started to think about it. Amanda said something, but the comment went away.
It says and that's, I mean, and it's true. Some people do, and I know a lot of people like will have like death dreams, and then like cheating dreams, and they're like, something happened or something might be happening. There is a difference, and that's where the comment of feeling into it. And then it's like, let's dive into that feeling. Is it actually going up, or is your insecurities showing you that maybe you need to evaluate something in your relationship or within inside of yourself, or are you communicating something? And that's where, you got to kind of digest, this is that could happen, it happened like this, like really look at it overall, like a bird's eye view.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that where my husband was like not messing around, but it was feeling like it was messing around. And really the message was inviting a deeper conversation and more intimacy and actually communication with us. And it really wasn't like him cheating. But I woke up
Exactly.
pissed, like, what'd you do?
Oh, don't
What'd
we
you
all?
doing last night? Yeah.
Mother trucker. Like, oh yeah, that happens. That's awesome. So got anything going on this weekend?
No, it's Harlan's birthday today. My son, he's 8.
Happy birthday, Harlan.
And yeah, so we'll be celebrating him for the rest of the week.
I love that.
I can't see. So I see a couple of people clicked on. Okay, do you guys have any questions? Awesome. Do you have anything that's coming up? Are you getting pinged with a question? How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, you guys.
I think there's 3 right now.
You throw out a conversation.
Yeah, we can channel. Throw out a topic and we'll channel what's coming through.
Exactly. Dreams came up, and then what else do you want us to talk about?
The Stevie Nicks song is playing in my head right now. Dreams.
Which one? It's like I made that come back so much, and it's like, That was interesting. We'll wait to see if anybody's got anything to talk about. If not, we'll talk about exciting things you're doing.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Okay.
Go.
So speaking of dreams, oh, it was a while. Well, not a while. Probably a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. And Lisa wants to talk about triggers. Okay. I'll finish this really quick. Or do you want to just jump to triggers?
Nope, because that's gonna tunnel. We're gonna weave that all together. So you go ahead.
So I was woken up in the middle of the night and I sent myself an email, and I don't remember sending myself the email, but obviously I got the email when I woke up in the morning to talk about the fertility and that there were struggles and such around that. And I I battled that for a while and it would not go away. And so I just posted a few days ago about a womb healing. And it's really interesting because how it was coming is the actual couple to do the woman and the man. And it's more emotional clearings and blocks and all of that actually could prevent. And what they keep showing me is a lot of it is also on the man side. So yeah, so I just went ahead and put that right out there. So it was really,
well, I love that because you're talking about triggers. So we're talking about solar plex. Okay, we're talking about solar plex and root, and she's asking about triggers and how to stay centered and connected. Okay, I'm going to say not the connected part, but I want to talk about centered. She's talking about womb healing, and us as women, and I know that there's some men here might be watching on replay, but I'm going to talk in all sense, women, men. Our sacral and our sacral chakra holds the most intimate part of us. So when you're talking about triggers, when you're talking about that, it's things that we shoved when we were talking about dreams and shoving things of cheating and getting this and getting upset or getting triggered. It is when we shove our emotions so deep in our sacral, in our root, and when they come up and we get triggered. So when we're talking about Tommy's womb healing, she's going to the deepest part of you, clearing it out. And she's also talking about couples and reconnecting if they're trying to conceive. But this could even be not if you're trying to conceive. And talking about clearing triggers, clearing emotional blocks, clearing your need to communicate. We always think when we're needing to communicate our feelings that we're just locked in the throat. Well, guess what? It also, the deeper part of it starts with our sacral and our root and where we're being blocked at. So when Tommy got pulled, obviously, as we were talking about dreams, and a dream to this is because she, and I'm not telling her story, but she throughout her life has had to look at things, had to come up. She had her thing, with Johnny, and that's kind of started the ball rolling. But talking about triggers, let's talk about triggers. When you get triggers, it's spirit saying, hey, it's a part for you to heal. Sometimes we can't always heal for ourselves, and this is why we offer a range of healing, because there's parts that it's really good to work with somebody because somebody sees something in us that we don't always see in ourselves. And with Tommy's womb healing, and she's going in and she's going down to those deepest part to bring out those triggers. Connect with your partner, connect with you emotionally. So I think that's awesome that you're doing that. But those,
can I say something to that? No, it actually goes along with that. So we actually were just talking the other day about, so I don't remember much of my childhood prior to 8. And there's a lot of trauma and stuff that's there. So speaking of like triggers and things coming up, this journey that we're on in this life, right? Different layers and layers and layers. People have said it's like peeling an onion back and all of that. So it's so interesting because along with this that came through, there's even my leg is going off. There's even a deeper part of a trigger and a trauma and all that that's ready to come up that is from my childhood of like having to shut down and all of that. And this is only getting triggered right now. And I actually laughed. It was a couple days ago I thought I was done. I thought I had like looked at that and I was like kind of done with that. And so talking about knowing and how I felt and when I was feeling into this, I was like, oh, I'm safe enough now. I'm actually safe enough right now to be able to actually bring this up and look at it. And one of the things that I've learned so much with spirit is you will not be presented with something that you are not really ready to face. It, as much as it doesn't seem like it, but because some of the things, you know, that come up are really hard, but you will never be presented with something unless you are ready to deal with it. So if it's coming up and you're being triggered by it, or it's very deep and all that, trust that this is like something in your body feels safe enough to like allow it to come up. Is that resonating?
You totally. That's true. And then you go and let's add on a little bit more. Like you just said, I thought I was done with this. Well, you went a little deeper.
Yep.
And you went a little deeper. And I talk about this, and I've been talking about it for years on multiple of my videos, where Amanda's talking about how she can totally relate to that. And at the forgiveness stage.
Oh, this is a really good part. Yeah.
I'm gonna add to that part, Amanda. And you go a little deeper and a little deeper. Because somebody asked me, well, did we ever stop healing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm still there. So
I'm gonna go with no.
And right? And then the forgiveness stage. I love that. When you talk about the forgiveness, I just got done reading a book from John Roger about forgiveness. And the biggest piece of that is forgiving yourself. And people are like, oh, yeah, I forgive myself. But do you? I mean, that's the big
To me, it's the hardest part. Does it ever end? You know, no, in my opinion, it doesn't, but I'll tell you. But it gets, I don't want to say it gets easier. I don't,
back.
How do I describe this? I'm just going to speak for myself right now. What's coming up for me to deal with right now actually is quite painful. Oh, both my legs are going off. It's quite painful, and it's so deep and it's so old, but I'm not, I'm like, okay, I got, like, I know from so much that of work already been done that it's not, I don't know. I'm having more of a feeling, and I'm having trouble putting a word to it. I don't want to say that it is going to be somewhat challenging, but it's not like I could do it. That's how I feel, like I could do it. You know, it's not hard. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like ready to deal with it and knowing that it's not going to break me. This is not going to break me. By facing all of this, it's only going to make me stronger. This is not going to break me.
And you're looking at it through a different mindset and a different energy.
I mean, I can tell you when I first started my healing journey, like consciously, I thought things were going to break me.
Oh, yes. And then and that's what I tell and I teach, is it's like you've already been through it. So you can already deal with it because you already did it. Yeah. And now it's just looking at it and scraping it up, just clean that up. You just dusting it off.
But going back to forgiveness, I found with a lot that's coming up, the forgiveness of self, like Tawnya was just saying, it is the first part. And to me, it has been the hardest to forgive me. Mm-hmm. I've been able to forgive for various reasons and forgive someone else, but forgiving me has been the hardest. And when I've actually got to that point of forgiveness of self, it's like things fall into place and I see things much more clear. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Does anybody else have any, I'm kind of scrolling back, make sure I didn't miss anything. Does anybody else have any topics you guys want to talk about? Because it kind of, when we decided to do Spirit Talk, it's because lots of topics come up. We bring up a lot, come in, and then it's like, well, why aren't we recording this? And I kind of said this in the beginning, but it's like, well, maybe somebody comes on and goes, hey, maybe one of these talks, she's going to feel a pull card. I'm going to hear a message. Like Spirit's communicating to me right now. And I'm having a conversation and she's talking to you guys with Spirit. And it's like this constantly conversation. So that's why Tommi and I wanted to do this. Is it's like there's stuff that comes out. Energy has been crazy. Everybody's feeling this huge transition that we're going into. A lot of people's nerves have been, highs, lows, roller coasters. And it's like, we need a place where we can come together, be in this chill vibe, talk about things, shoot the shit, and just channel what spirit is saying. Come in, just be like, let's just be real. Like, real spirit talk. Here we go. So they wanted me to say that.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, I didn't do a very good intro. I was like, we're just going to be here and talk about what we usually talk about.
We're just going to talk. Let's see what else they're bringing up. You know, you're talking about forgiveness, and because they've now said it 3 times and I've ignored it. Talking about mediumship.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
And a lot of forgiveness. What?
No, I'm gonna let you talk and then actually talk about how this is different. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, I don't know what you're going. I do what you know going, but not. But so they're talking about forgiveness. When you're talking about, you know, some people hold grudges and then they pass over and then they live with regret. And I never got to have a conversation. And when they didn't know I got to forgive them. And I got, you know, all this, you know, regret and living and needing to forgive. You know, this is cliche, but they can always hear you. They're always forgiving you. They're constantly always with you. Don't feel like you never, and they're giving me like words unsaid. Don't feel like you didn't say anything or I should have, because that's just fucking wasted energy. Yeah. They said,
is it like you can say it now? You could say it now and talk to them?
Yeah. You're never really dead. There is no death. Like, oh, and I just texted a freaking person this morning because somebody was talking about what's going on because mental illness is through the roof. And I've got a whole house of teenagers talking with their friends and it's not good. But they're so worried. People are worried about dying. And I'm like, you're not dead.
You know, they just flashed me that video. You shared a video of this little 13-year-old talking, and the interviewer like asked him what, because this little kid, he's so fascinating and so many things that he was saying. It's like, you know, when you hear something and you may not fully understand it, but it feels so true in your body, right? Which is the whole thing that I think that's the whole point of this. But anyhow, he's talking and the interviewer asked him, so what happens to your body? Like when you die, what happens? Where do you go? And he was basically saying like, we're all energy. And he goes, I don't know. You just look at your body on the ground, I guess. And you're like, okay, next. I was like, such a way to say it. It's true.
Right. Well, I love that. Hey, Sam, thanks for joining us. And that's it. And it's like, you know, people are just like, you just live and you're just dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, I tend to be a little non-compassionate about death. And I know that. And they're like, Tawnya, you're such a bitch. Like, you need to have more, you know. And I'm like, it's not that I'm not compassionate. It's because I've seen the other side. And when you see the other side, you're going to realize, oh, what the, like all of a sudden your whole mind frame changes. So when it's not that I want people to be like, if you had a near-death experience, if you've listened to any near-death experiences, you will realize they talk to you. They're never gone. Yes, we miss them. We miss them physically. Totally get that. But if you shut your damn head off and fall into your heart, you can hear them.
I want to just share one thing. When I first started to work with Tawnya, and a friend of mine had passed. Well, she committed suicide. And I was like, oh, I want to see her. And she's like, oh, yeah, you could talk to her. You could talk to her. And I was like, huh? What? And it actually is true. I wonder if you should do a course or something on that. Just something, or a class, or like something. Because when she walked through and she's right, it's shutting off your head, which is one of the hardest things for us to do.
Yes.
Like getting in and not doubting it. And I'll tell you, from there's been a handful of people around me and family members who have passed, and every single one of them I've been able to connect to. I'm getting really dizzy right now talking about this, so I'm not sure who needs to hear this. And it's fascinating. And then I started and anyway, I think you should do it, because then you can start to do like little tricks of feeling into somebody who's still alive and feeling how that energy feels different to somebody who has passed and recently passed versus passed for a long time. And there's like all these great nuggets, you know.
And you learn so much from dead people. It's so fun.
Okay, so to your mediumship right now, what I was going to say, if anybody's on the fence to do it, and this is literally not a sales pitch, like this was not even planned to come up, but they're bringing it. This is like these sessions with what she's doing. Yeah, there are some messages that come.
Wait, I did not want to do.
Speaking of, when I got my dream in the womb healing, your mediumship, there is something that's coming through. And so I've had maybe 4 mediumship readings before Tanya's. And every time, like, my grandma's come through, my grandpa, I've gotten messages. This one was so different. And the amount of, I don't want to say that the amount of souls that came through on my past readings, that they were not there. Or maybe the person reading couldn't pick up on all of them or tie it together, but there's something on how she's tying this together. And okay, they're showing me like a baton. Sorry, Tawnya. I'm just going to say this. It's like a baton. So she was speaking to one. So let's say she was like speaking to my uncle, right? And a baton is passed to like a different lineage of family. Like that's what I think she was trying to explain in there, like by marriage. It would be like that now this message goes, but it all ties in so beautiful. I hope this is making sense how I'm saying it. And there's an entire like the messages, I'm getting a lot of pressure on my head, and the things that are coming through is to like tie healing together with like all families, even if we're not like family, because it's by marriage or not blood, I guess. Well, I don't even, but what is blood? Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, we've been going through this hard time
year. Passing the spiritual baton. That is what it's like, Jim. Yes.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna have to look at Jim's always giving me names. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to get that one. And it was one of these talks. This is why Tommi and I are doing these lives, no matter who watches this or if this is just fun for us. It was one of these talks, and and I don't even know, I don't know Tommy's family. And she's like, I don't know. I wish my mom was on this call. And I'm like, and they're coming in hot. And I'm like, oh, why are we doing this? I'm trying to make a sandwich. We're just having a call.
And then my grandma, so going back to the readings I've had before, and this was after both my grandmas have died. One of my grandmas, which was my mom's mom, never would make contact, or that's what I thought, right? I thought, oh, she was here, she's not talking. And what we came to find out, so Tawnya actually did, and she doesn't speak, but we glitched out. Oh, damn it. I don't know what part, because there's a little delay. But
welcome to me. It's true. Honest, y'all.
But how it's really interesting, because like how my grandma actually did communicate, I don't know. I'm thinking now, like the other ones, they couldn't pick it up, but her message that came through, and actually what transpired when that was, oh, my leg is going off, she was able to come through, is there are no words. There are literally no words with what took place.
Well, that's how she was. She was no words. And let's talk. And because there wasn't, she came through with emotion and feeling. And no, Jim, I'm going to show you what I'm crocheting. People are the same. People/souls are the same on the other side as they are here. personalities the same, ideas like that the same personalities, they have that over there, which is very funny. And your grandmom didn't really talk a lot here. Guess what? She didn't talk on the other side either. So I'm like, oh. So I had to fill her up. I had to fill old grandma up with energy and say, give it to me, give it to me. So it was all through feeling. And I talk about that. Tommy knows this. I talk about this in my classes. Feel, because that is the best way to communicate to all beings on the other side. And guess what? To the ones living. They're coming back and crossing over no glitch. That's funny. So yeah, it's I love when it's fun.
And in
it's
that
lovely.
one specifically, it was Tawnya even was like talking about learning from the other side, right? And like what she saw and what she was able to get was she's in awe too, and I'm in awe, and we're both sitting here like.
And I hate that because I'm over here like, I gotta be making this up. No. And that's why I changed the time, because I'm sitting here having a conversation and it's similar to this, and we're talking and it's so different, and I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, listen, I can hear the angels clear as day. I can hear masters, goddesses, you name it. And then I'm having to play charades with the past loved ones. And I'm like, can't you just communicate? So I'm sitting here yelling at your past loved ones because I'm like, you're right. I can see you clearly. I know what you're doing, because I want to have this conversation. And that's what was so awesome when Tommy and I were talking. It's like, okay, I'm like, thank goodness you're here. We're having this conversation. Jim, I am crocheting a flower. So then I'm going to put a little pearl right in the middle of it. So see, it's a little flower.
She's making a bouquet.
I'm making me a flower garden. Yeah, bouquet for my table. Wow. So that's what's kind of funny about this is we had to have this conversation. Like it's not like my normal readings where I'm just spitting stuff from spirit. Like we're having a conversation like this to say, this is what I'm seeing. How does this relate? Okay. Are you married? That's why when she was talking, like your mom and dad's side came in so strong, it was like back and forth. And then like they said, the baton, it was so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you guys know, Amanda's been disconnected from crafting. Oh, I'm going to let Tawnya take this one about crocheting and creating. Go ahead.
It's another form of meditation. You just got to sit in, and it's amazing what your spirit team does when you do crafts. You can move into channel. You can move into, see my little flower. You can move into channel. You get worked on. You get energy healings. It's amazing when you just let your mind not think and start your crafts. Yeah, I'm going to put the little thing right there. And just flow with it. Got to get back into it. And the best thing I want to bring that because Lisa talked about feeling disconnected. You have to force yourself. You have to force yourself to do it to get your body back into a routine. Same thing with meditation. You feel disconnected, sit your ass down and meditate. I don't care if you don't want to. Don't care, put it on. Tell yourself to shut up 1,000 times and keep going. Well,
I think we should be a little bit
like that's it.
Maybe a little softer with ourselves.
Softer, and I'm like, no. Well, Spirit's been on my case lately. They've been like, woo! They've been on my case about it.
She said, yes, Mom. Tawnya is. She is like.
Well, and the only reason I do it to you guys is because Spirit does it to me. So I'm like, I can't be the only one getting yelled at over here. I'm going to pass the torch.
You know what I want to talk about next time? Not now, just because I'm sure, but I think what we maybe can do is like put a couple of things down. So what's coming up is, I know this is so different. I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but like people coming out of your life and being removed. Remember what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. What time is it? How much?
Okay.
Time? Because I want these. Oh, listen. What time is it?
9:34. Or.
What you're saying?
Because I feel like this is going to be longer, but so some things have come up, and so I guess this is a little tidbit we'll talk about next time. but of when people leave your life, not just relationship, like intimate, really. Well, I hate to say that because friendships are intimate too. Any relationship in your life or people who have left. So I don't know why that popped in my, I mean, I know why, but I don't know why it just like popped in right now. But here I am. I just spit it right out.
I think it's important because, I mean, we're
I,
going through a
I think
huge
that's why. I
transition
think
from
of what's coming. Yeah, of maybe why they said that.
relationship, people,
Yep.
jobs.
That's a
everything.
good point. It's not
So
just actually people. It's things or situations.
So stay tuned next week. You guys invite your friends to the group. I thought about doing another main page, but I'm like, I don't want to. So I'm doing this. So we're doing this group. So you have to invite your friends and say, hey, like this. So I think there's a place that says invite all your friends to the page. We might, because in the beginning, Spirit was saying maybe put this on YouTube so people can watch the replay. And write down some things.
Yeah.
You want to comment, say, hey, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about whatever? Next week, we're going to talk about people, places, things, jobs coming in and out of your life and what that means. We're talking about growth. We're talking about evolvement and not staying attached to things that move out of your life. Hey, Karen, you got to listen.
You know what we should do? We can create a thread, and then people can comment under the thread of like topics. If you know, so then even if they can't catch it live, we'll just trust that everyone will need to hear it.
We're going to hear, Tommy's going to have this. It's going to be around this time because it seems to work for us. And you guys can watch this on the replay. If you're watching replay, I'm going to crochet. We're going to talk about some things. Have a glorious Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, guys. This was fun. We'll see you next week.
Mwah.
Bye.